to be careful with Johnny Pecker. All righty, excuse me. All righty. Hello, Alan Roach. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, PA.
Alan Roach at Mile High Roach via the tweet machine. He's the voice of U.S. Bank Stadium and Ball Arena and the Super Bowl and the European games and stuff like that. And here he is. You sounded unbelievable at Tottenham Hotspur. And because I don't get a chance to hear it as clearly at U.S. Bank Stadium as I did at Tottenham Hotspur. So maybe we were at break or whatever, or maybe they did the introductions at a different time. I don't know if you do this at U.S. Bank Stadium, Box. I loved when Justin Jefferson was coming out and you described him as the mighty Justin Jefferson. You called him mighty.
I'm going to be honest, PA. I don't remember doing that.
Why? You were drunk on the job?
Well, it was London, home of the multiple pints.
Right.
It's funny that you say that. You can't hear because London is my least favorite place to announce because I have a window in front of me, an unopenable window.
Yeah.
And I sit basically inside a glass booth.
Right.
And, when you're talking loud and it's echoey, it just echoes right back in my face. And I cannot hear myself at all out in the arena. The only way I can hear what's going on is we have a little speaker next to us so that I can hear, when the referee talks or when music is playing or whatever. So it's funny that you say you could hear me better there than anywhere else because that's the place that I can't hear me at all.
Vox.
Not that I enjoy listening to myself, but it helps when you're doing that sort of thing.
Vox. At Tottenham Hotspur, Alan Roach at Mile High Roach. Second time Bursich and I have called a game from there. We are also in an enclosed booth. Okay, it's like we're in a conference room. Now, our engineer, Jared Wells, who you've met, does an unbelievably good job with a boom mic, a stick mic, and he climbs up on a table and he jerry rigs it outside of a vent, I believe. So that's how we get our crowd noise, and it comes into our headphones. So once the game gets going, having the thick glass in front of us sucks. And by the way, it's the exact same way at Arrowhead, which after a remodel at Arrowhead, I got there for the first time. I'm like, let me get this straight. This is supposedly one of the great environments in the history of the NFL. We got an enclosed booth. Yeah,
when I worked with the Broncos, went to Arrowhead all those years, and it's way up high, too,
right.
Yeah.
And an enclosed booth. So next time we're in this situation, we're going to get Jared Wells, the engineer. And by the way, he used to be the bass player for the Allman Brothers, and he wrote a lot of songs, so he has a really, really good ear for sound. We're going to get him down to your Vox box, and we're going to fix this whole crowd problem for you, okay?
Outstanding. You got to be careful what you wish for. When we did games in Twickenham, and I know you did a game in Twickenham, my booth in Twickenham, in order to reach the public address announcer booth, I had to walk out into the crowd, walk up to the very top of the stadium through the stands, climb a ladder, a metal ladder up into a wooden box.
Wow.
And that's where that was my perch in Twickenham.
Yep, Vox problems. I think next time we're in Europe, we probably should hold out a cup and try to get some donations for all these Vox problems that we're having, Kwesi would call them champagne problems. I call them Western suburb problems. You call them Englewood problems or Morrison problems or whatever. So when at U.S.
Morrison, Colorado. Hello.
So I didn't want to give away the town in which you live in case there are Voxes who want to be Voxes ever to Vox and they come looking for you on Halloween. When you introduce Justin Jefferson at U.S. Bank Stadium, do you qualify it with the mighty? Because I thought you were using words because we're in England. So, they'll say mighty more than we'll say mighty. And you threw it in for some color. Is that accurate?
No, I did not. I did not do that. If I I would have been exceptionally careful not to do that because, in essence, I looked a little bit at the London game as if I was showing the NFL that, yes, I was the home announcer for the Vikings, but I was doing things the right way so that if the Vikings should ever play in a really big game where they are at a neutral site and need a neutral announcer, that I would be able to handle that position.
How excited are you for the game this weekend?
Very excited. Very excited. Think it's great.
Me too.
It's so early in the year, and it has all the makings of this big game. I heard you talking with somebody earlier that said, and either way, if either team loses, it's not a gigantic blow to either team. Well, here's what I hope for, or how Viking fans worry about everything. I think the worst scenario would be if Sam Darnold plays poorly on Sunday, because then there's going to be all the question marks after what happened, not playing so well in the Jets game, now not playing well on Sunday, having another game in 4 days.
Yeah.
Let's get Sammy Darnold off to a great start, have a nice game, have decent numbers, and then maybe it doesn't matter whether we win or lose. We go into L.A. and beat up on a Rams team that's not so good.
Alan, Darnold's throwing for more than 400 yards Sunday.
400.
Yeah, he's never done that. And last year, I'll have this straight Sunday, but Mullins threw for more than 800 yards in 2 games against the Lions last year. Sam the man on the fan, for the first time in his career, his career high is 341 yards. He's never had a 400-yard game until this weekend. You'll see.
Well, maybe I'll give you 310 and 160 yards in pass interference calls.
That's right, with those corners have. Okay, hey, by the way, your name came up 9 to noon earlier and had nothing to do with football. You caught a stray, kind of like me in that Zim story. You caught a stray out of nowhere. Where we're chatting with Michael Russo about the world of hockey, and then Nordo's chiming in, and take a listen. Here's how it happened.
How worried are you through 4 about your Avs in this clunky start?
Yeah, Alan better hope that the Vikings go on a long run here, because that might be the only thing keeping him happy this year. Because as everybody knows, Alan is the Colorado Avalanche PA guy, and he's not going to have I don't think a lot of opportunities to be excited this year. I'm telling you, wow. I predicted
We're 4% into the hockey season.
Yeah, I know. What's the Avs record?
That'd be over.
Right, and then they had somebody.
We've given Avalanche have given up 26 goals in 12 periods.
Well, yeah, but that saves your voice for Vikings calls, because it's not like you're like Zdeno Chara, the mighty Zdeno Chara. No, you're chill, man, because they're getting ready for the undefeated Vikings. I see what the Avs are doing here.
Yeah, that's been painful to watch. And I was thinking last night while I'm watching the game, because I had really nothing to do but think. I didn't have any goals to announce. You got to be careful what you wish for during that trade deadline time, when you're thinking your team has a chance and you want them to make some moves. The Avalanche over the last 3 years, I think, have picked up 3, 4, maybe even 5 guys in that week before the trade deadline. Mm-hmm. And those guys are usually guys that are at the end of their contract. You're only going to rent them basically for the last few months throughout the playoffs. And the Avalanche have done so much of that the last 3 years that, and those guys are all gone. I mean, those guys never stick around. They don't get re-signed. So you're giving up younger players, you're giving up role players and picking up these rental players, and then when it comes to the off season, you're scrambling trying to find free agents and stay under the cap. The Avalanche right now just seem to be lacking a lot of players.
I think discombobulated would be a good way to describe it. I can't wait to see you this weekend. You're the Vox of all Voxes ever to Vox. Love you very much.
All right, let's go. Skol Vikings.
See you, brother. 11:15, and we have the cash thing coming up around the corner. After that, Bridget Carleton of your Minnesota Lynx will join 9 to noon. We happen to be quite excited about that, and here's the con.
I can't even. I can barely do this. The Fan and Two Men in a Junk Truck. They want to give you a chance to put $1,000 in your hand with the National Cash Contest. The keyword is money. Go to KFAN.com. Use said keyword. The keyword is money at KFAN.com.
To noon.
And that's a fact.
Alrighty, here we go now. Welcome back to the presentation, right around 11:20. Been excited for this since I left Target Center last evening, despite the result. And it's Bridget Carleton, sharpshooter, the Canadian sharpshooter for the Minnesota Lynx. Plays with a smile on her face, and but that ended up being a frown at the end of last night with Sabrina Ionescu's dramatic 28-foot three-pointer to win the game. So the Liberty now lead the championship series 2-1, and Bridget joins us now. Bridget, is Paul Allen. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
Yep, and thank you very much for doing this. I appreciate it. You know, we like, you know how the request game goes with media relations and stuff, and I asked for it before the game and during the game. Then after the game, I was like, no, I'd like to chat with Bridget, you know, just about the game. Maybe it could be cathartic for her. Who knows? That was a dramatic loss last night. And so, like, how'd you guys handle last night? When you got back to the locker room and you still can win the series, obviously, but man, that was a tough one to lose last night, wasn't it?
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, it's a series for a reason. Obviously there's still a chance, it's not over yet. Obviously disappointed in how we finished. We thought, that was a game for us to win, and obviously just big time players making big time plays down the stretch. But the locker room, I mean, we're just focused on the next game. It's in the past. Now how can we be better for tomorrow night's game in Target Center again?
Excellent. And Cheryl comes on this radio show quite a bit, so we'll chat out the games and stuff like that. And I have not texted with her or chatted with her since last night. So I don't know if this was a preach after the game or not, or if you just completely move on. But I quite honestly, and I was at the game last night with my son, and it's the first time I've ever had courtside seats for a basketball game like that opposite the Liberty bench. So just to really get to feel the physicality and be in that thing, I had an unbelievably good time last night because it was such a good game. But in the first half, Bridget, I felt that there were times that you guys were killing them. And it's like at halftime, I look up there and it's 8. I think the lead was 8. And I'm like, damn. If that could have been like a 13, a 14, a 15, it might have made a difference. Did you feel that you guys should have led by more at halftime?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're happy with how we started the game. The first quarter especially, we were up, I think almost double digits, or if not, over 10 points. So we were really happy with the first quarter. And then second quarter, I think our defense was still there. They just hit a couple more shots, a couple miscues. And then we weren't able to, finish when we did get steals or stops. Sometimes we made bad decisions in transition on offense for us. And then looking up, it's only an 8-point game, but we were still confident. I mean, it's two really good teams going at it. It was kind of like game 1 in New York. We were down 15 and came back multiple times, and that was kind of the story for them in game 3. So entertaining series. I know you sitting courtside was probably amazing. You could really feel that physicality.
Oh.
It was physical out there. It was intense, but that's what the finals is all about.
Now, are you kidding me? I mean, where you made the reverse layup with the spin, I was on the other side, opposite the Liberty bench, next to my son. So therefore, that's where you were shooting in the second half, I believe. And like coming off the picks. Okay. Now, like the same thing with the NBA. You can watch it on TV, and like when you see, I don't know, somebody run into Rudy Gobert. Yeah, it looks physical, but then when you see it live, like, holy cow, with that. Well, that was last night. Like, I'm watching you come off these picks, and just to get off these picks and everything, with what you face getting off of it, or say you decide you want to go over or under a pick on defense, well, executing that, everything is 10 of 10 physical at this stage of the season, isn't it?
100%. I mean, obviously we like playing that way all season. We're comfortable in that, but everything gets, turned up a notch in the playoffs and especially in the finals against like two really good teams. Just trying to make things as difficult as possible for each other and doing that with our physicality with, everyone knows what the other team's trying to do. So just trying to get them out of that and being physical and, getting in their heads a little bit, but it's going both ways. So I think, it's fun to be a part of. It's hard. It's challenging. It's hard to get to this point. And now we're on, game 51 of the season and still trying to win every possession, no matter how hard it is.
Well, how does one become physical with Jonquel Jones? You can't move her. So, I mean, what are you going to do? Run into her with two people and, take a foul? I mean, how does one get physical with her?
Yeah, she's strong and tall, obviously. It's just doing her work early. Alana Smith has done an incredible job. Maisha Hines-Allen has done an incredible job. Just trying as hard as we can to be physical early, not letting her get too deep in the post because, once big players like that catch it so low, it's hard to do anything. So just, being smart with your physicality is important too.
Yeah, and she shoots threes. And it's not like this was new to me. I watched more WNBA this year than I've ever watched in my life. I mean, I'm a racetrack announcer and they're racing. I'm like getting home from the races at 9:30, turning on Ion just to see who Seattle's playing, like against Las Vegas. It was so great this season. But with Jones, with those threes, I mean, she was trying to shoot her team right out of the game. But then, lo and behold, stick-to-itiveness, she hits a big one late. So just scenarios like that were just fascinating, Bridget. And you mentioned Alana Smith. And I don't know what's up with her, man. And I've watched almost all your games this year. I got a lot of respect for her because she had a conspicuous limp last night. And she was trying to play through that thing. She ended up with 6, 8 rebounds, something like that. She only played 20 minutes. I know she had 5 fouls. But it looked to me like she was favoring something and trying to push through it. What a tough lady she is.
Yeah, I mean, she's incredible. She's normally undersized a lot of the times. We're a smaller team, and so she's fighting against, the biggest players in our league every single night. She took a blow right before halftime, but hopefully she'll be fine and ready to go tomorrow. But yeah, her toughness, we all feed off that energy and her willing to, come back out there in the second half and push through because we need her on the court, and she knows that. And so, yeah, she's incredible, and hopefully, she'll be ready to go tomorrow.
Bridget Carleton, 9 to noon, sharpshooter for the Minnesota Lynx. The Liberty lead 2-1. Sabrina Ionescu hit a 28-foot walk-off to win. It was quite dramatic and cold-blooded. Now we move on to Game 4. With you, excellent work on the reverse layup with the spin. I mean, do you practice stuff like that, or is it just one of those? All right, here I am. It's happening too fast to think about it. Let's just chuck it up there and see what happens because I've played basketball a long time and I've done that shot 100 times in horse, but maybe never in a game like that.
I practice my reverse layups all the time over a 6'6" wingspan defender in Jonquel Jones, maybe not, but I'm confident in, my abilities to make the right decisions. And at that point, I thought I had to get a shot on goal, and that was the best way I knew how to do it creatively, and it went in. So, yes, I practiced, but also heat of the moment, trusting my skills, trusting what I know in basketball.
Yeah, it was huge. And getting to the line the way you did and stuff, that was great. And you know what else was great? And I had Cheryl on the radio show a couple of days ago, and we're talking about this, after the first 2 games. You win that dramatic first game, unbelievably cool game to watch. Then you're trailing by 17. You come charging at them, but it just wasn't enough, and then they win Game 2. But the common thread during that, and I'm sure you know this, is they out-rebounded you offensively 30-10. And so I'm looking at Jonquel Jones, and I'm looking at 44, Lainey Hamilton, I can't remember her name, and just the way, Brianna Stewart, of course. And I'm like, damn, 30-10 on the offensive boards. This is a common thread problem. I'm talking to Cheryl about it a little bit. And you guys beat them last night with offensive rebounds, and you limited them to 6. So I would imagine that was a mandate would be strong, but that was like a bit into the game. Like, we got to get a hold of this, ladies, right?
Yeah, for sure. A really good team like that, you don't want to give them extra possessions, and knowing we are a little bit undersized at times, just, all 5 of us have to get in there and dig out some rebounds, dig out the hard ones. But that starts with our defense and making them take shots we want them to take, and then we're in good rebounding position to do that. So I think we held our own last night, and that's definitely where we want to be tomorrow night as well, just making things difficult. We were proud of our defense for the most part last night, especially in that first quarter, that first half. some lapses here and there, but that happens in a long game. So just sticking to that and trusting ourselves. Yeah, it's going to be an emphasis again tomorrow.
You play a lot of minutes, and you've played a lot of minutes all season. So at this stage of the equation, like on a day like this, Bridget, what do you do to relax the body and get the body right for Game 4?
Well, actually, I'm talking to you from the cold tub right now. So I am doing recovery, treating my body, doing some mobility, and then just resting, laying on the couch, taking as much time to myself as I need to be ready to go tomorrow.
And that includes mentally, right? Some people are like, okay, everybody's on their phones, they're on their iPads, their computers, whatever. That's the generation. But sometimes like kicking back and kicking your feet up and like looking at your phone or watching TV or something like that for an hour and a half, 2 hours, it may not seem productive, but between games to relax your mind, that's almost as important as getting the body right, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's so much focus, so much preparation that goes into every game mentally. So your mental needs a break too. So I'm able to find that on days like today, but obviously still very locked into what I need to do tomorrow. So taking the time to adjust what I need to do better tomorrow, but then also taking the time to disconnect, not being on social media, watching my little Netflix show to take my mind off the game. What's
the Netflix show that you like right now?
I'm watching Nobody Wants This right now on Netflix.
Right.
Popular one.
I heard that's pretty good. Did you like back in old school Breaking Bad or Sons of Anarchy, like shows like that? Did you watch shows like that?
Yeah, I've watched those a couple times. Not fully through, but I've watched them.
Yeah, pretty good. And again, that's to get your mind off what is very difficult right now. You're in the WNBA Finals. Okay, a couple more to close here. Thank you very much for the time. Win or lose, we really appreciate it. When you establish, okay, now you guys played 3 games, they're super physical. You played them during the course of the season and all that. The farther along you go, Bridget, does one develop like an I don't like you vibe the farther this series goes? Because there wasn't a lot of trash talking last night, wasn't a lot of shoving, even though it was physical. But you get to know each other so well, and the tendencies and stuff like that. Does there develop a vibe where it's kind of like, oh, her again? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, that's what, is so fun about series, 5-game series. I think, that's what creates rivalries. When you're playing against the same team over and over and over again, you know each other so well. You know what makes them angry. You know what they want to get to. So taking that away. So yeah, I mean, you have to have a kind of I don't like you vibe right now on the court. Obviously, we all respect each other as players and people, but doing whatever we can to help win the game. And that happens over the course of a series. You're playing the same person for 40 minutes back to back to back. It gets that way for sure, but that's the fun part of it.
Eliminate Fee from this conversation. First time I've seen Breanna Stewart live, and I've watched her a bunch of times on TV. Getting Fee loose offensively, Nafisa Collier. Well, Breanna, I mean, she's just so long. Her arms stretch from like Maui to Maine, or for you, it'd be like Maui to Manitoba. And defensively, well, that counts too, with being maybe the best overall player in the WNBA on Collier, the way she plays her. But offensively, I mean, she was missing early, then she starts hitting those shots late. She's just a handful overall because of how long and tall she is, right?
For sure. I mean, she's one of the best in the world for a reason. She's been one of the best in the world for a long time. Her length, her versatility, offensively and defensively, she can guard 1 through 5, and then she's able to score at will. No matter who's guarding her, she can post up, she can shoot the free ball. She plays dynamically, so it's hard to control her. But yeah, it's incredible. I mean, Fee has done an incredible job on her offensively and defensively. It's a really fun matchup, those two going at it, two of the best in the league. So it's really fun to be a part of that and watch, Fee do work. I'm Fee's biggest fan. But yeah, it's an incredible matchup. And she, like you said, started missing early, but then got hot late. But that's what good players do, right? When it's their time. Yeah,
didn't panic. Okay, last one here. Bridget Carleton, what determines when you pull the trigger off a pick? And obviously I'm talking about 3-pointers. That's your game. But what determines, and this is tough to answer because it's in the moment, it's quick twitch, and that's how God blessed you. I mean, that's where you're better than a majority of the world at doing exactly what we're talking about here. But if you could just get deep into that basketball mind, what determines when you pull the trigger off a pick? And I have a reason I'm asking the question.
I think my mindset every time I know I'm going to catch the ball is to shoot it.
Mm-hmm.
So knowing if I'm going to be open before I catch it, I've already decided I'm going to shoot it, but usually before I catch it.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes if I do have the ball and I'm making a decision, if I see any daylight, I'm probably going to shoot it.
Right. So
obviously reading who's guarding me and how they're guarding me, but my first thought is always to shoot the ball and be aggressive.
have you watched the game back yet?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so second half. Did you feel that there were a couple of moments? So say free throw line extended left, but back behind the 3-point line, right in front of where I was sitting. Did you feel there were a couple of times you came off picks that you looked back and you're like, damn it, I got to pull that? And maybe it was more claustrophobic than I thought, but I mean, I'm just looking for 6 to hoist it up there all the time because you're really good at it. When you look back, did you think you left a couple on the table?
Yes and no. I think, time and score, how we're playing. I don't want to force something up that might be considered a bad shot if the flow of the offense isn't there and we could potentially get something better. I think, I didn't shoot any threes in the second half, so I definitely want to be just more aggressive. I only took 1 field goal and got to the free throw line once. So I think my mindset, just trying to be as aggressive as possible and in the flow of the offense, doing what I do. But I don't think I passed up any wide open ones, that's for sure.
Yeah, not wide open, but catch, pick, bam. I mean, just I don't know. I just love when you shoot. All right. Well, I appreciate you, and best of luck tomorrow night. Thank you very much for the time.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's do this later down the road if you get the opportunity. The conversations are really cool. I really enjoyed the game. God bless you, and have fun tomorrow night, okay?
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Yep, see you. That's Bridget Carleton with the WNBA's Minnesota Lynx. They lost on a walk-off last night from 28. Lady's name is Sabrina Ionescu. She's basketball immortality. Kind of had a stinker of a game. Then she started, launching them from deep, and she got one, and it was huge. And then she got the game winner. So good for her. Everybody, you heard Bridget Carleton say the key today is to stay off social media. And that's not necessarily because I would imagine she's going to get, frustrated, perturbed Lynx Nation to come at hashtag rip the Lynx for losing or things like that. No, what I think she's talking about, and this is a product of when you win in walk-off fashion, in cold-blooded fashion, specifically at about 9:15 Central in the evening, which means a lot of the kids around the WNBA and NBA are watching. It's just tweet after tweet. Kevin Durant here, LeBron James there, Lisa Leslie here.
And a video replay of it
Yeah.
on repeat.
Right. And so that's what I would guess she's talking about because it hasn't stopped either. I mean, it's like these players see, oh, damn, my dog was watching this live and did this with this cool video. Okay, I didn't see it live, but I got the video, so now I got to do it this morning. So it's just going to continue hour after hour.
I don't know how you could come out of that trying to drag the Lynx. I mean, there were things that didn't work their way, and there's some shooting issues really for both teams at times.
Yeah.
But the way this series has gone, would you expect any of these games at this stage to not be an absolute grinder in the final seconds?
Well, the Lynx, from a metric standpoint and like points per game, the normal stuff that we look at.
Sure.
They finished, these are the best 2 defensive teams in the WNBA. The New York Liberty are a better offensive rebounding team. I mean, Jonquel Jones she was drafted where she was drafted. She's a veteran. I think she played at George Washington. God gifted her with that size, that touch, and the ability to shoot threes. Okay, and then now you got a 6'6" girl with her in Breanna Stewart. Well, you're going to lose offensive rebounding. And you were gone when I had Cheryl Reeve on. And then right at the end, I was like, damn. I mean, this, because we had a problem-solving vibe where she had a quote after game 2 where it's like, our players are really good at solving problems. So we were talking about some problems that had been solved. And I'm like, well, how do you solve this problem? I mean, this lady's this size. This lady's that big. And they've out-rebounded you offensively 30-10 through 2 games. And then it went down the road of a player they didn't select with their first pick.
Oh, yeah.
Who happens to lead the WNBA in offensive rebounding, who plays in Chicago. But then you say that and everybody's like, yeah, that's because she's catching all of her own shots. not every single one. And yes,
A lot of them.
she's a bad shooter and she's bad on defense and she would be a locker room distraction. And I can't honestly say that I've ever paid $8,000 a month for a place to live, but nevertheless 3-2. But they turned that around last night and they won the offensive rebounding battle.
They did, yeah. It's statistically, other than their overall field goal percentage, if you were just chasing a box score for an idea of what happened, you'd say, how did the Lynx not win this game? But I think it was really, as you got closer to the hoop, their inability to finish some of the easy ones. There was one I texted you.
It's not them. It's them as in the entire league. It's like Derek and I, because we've watched a lot this year.
Yeah.
There are just some moments in the WNBA where what you just mentioned, like finishing and going to the ground like Allen Iverson or whomever, and hitting that circus, that, that example's 40%, right? With the men. I mean, it's 4% with the ladies, and that's just how God constructed men and women. But then now think end of a quarter, end of a half, not Sabrina from 28, end of a game. She set her feet, bent her knees, catapult that thing up, and boom, there is your dagger. But think like, oh wow, shot clock's running down into the quarter, got to chuck one up here from 18. I mean, I've seen a fair amount of those on Ion head over the backboard. Yeah. Or if it's from
like Jamal
18,
Murray in the Nuggets series.
Thank you.
That's a very low percentage shot for anybody.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but I mean, it's a strength thing, and
there's a bit of that. Yeah.
I'm thinking, wow, is this that Larry Bird commercial where like he threw a ball up to the second level and it hit the usher and came back and bounced off somebody's bald head and then went in the basket? We playing horse up in here? So there are some stark differences that I was witnessing last night. But that's not a shocker. It was, as I was texting you after the game, I mean, it was a fantastic experience at that game last night. It's a finals game, and it had a finals feel to it. I thought it was terrific. So hopefully they can win tomorrow night, force a Game 5. Game 5 would be at New York, right?
In New York, yeah.
So New York had a better record than the Lynx this year.
They did.
Okay, I
think they were maybe the top team wire to wire.
Yeah,
because the Lynx were 2.
I think they might have been, and then Connecticut and Vegas and that.
And then Vegas
thing
behind them. Yeah.
It's 11:42. Good morning. You're listening to KFAN. Okay, 6-pack of picks. It's a Nordo creation. Our picks are clicking against the point spread at an incredibly low level, incredibly small/light level. So those of the learned variety who may be whales, not betting nickels, but spotting up with dimes, you know the drill. Go the other way. Our work is done. Yours has just begun. Picking games on a Thursday is not something yours truly would do if I was really wagering more than a mythical honeybee, metaphorical money. But here we are. First and foremost, I like these guys.
57-yard field goal try. High snap is down. Elliott blocked. Miles blocked it. Picked up by the Browns. Running down the sideline. Rodney McLeod. He may go. Somersault into the end zone. Touchdown, Browns!
Browns radio.
All right, Browns are awful. I get it. Deshaun sucks. And Amari Cooper got traded. Stefanski versus the Cincinnati Bengals, 6-2. And he, at one point, he won 6 in a row. So in the battle for Ohio, it's gone the way of Cleveland, no matter the circumstances of either team over the course of time. So I'll take Cleveland there. You want to go back and forth, or should I? Let me just knock my 3 out.
Okay.
So I like Cleveland on the money line, Cleveland to win the game. Secondly, I'll take these guys.
Play action love, looking, winds up, rainbows, Watson there, touchdown! Yes! 44 yards and a Lambeau leap to the north end zone stands.
Packers radio.
The Vikings, Packers, and Lions all will sweep the AFC South. So I'll take Green Bay, and I'll give 3. And finally, these guys.
Brock looks right, throws right. It is Kittle. Made the catch. Touchdown!
The Kansas City Chiefs regular season for show and postseason for dough. Thus, the Niners -1.5 is the play. Nordo?
Pick 6. My 3 are as follows. I love the Giants +3 hosting the Eagles. Giants have covered 3 of their last 4 at MetLife. Saquon coming home, I know that, but Neighbors is coming back from a concussion, and Daboll's group wants to make life hell for Mr. Barkley.
Yep.
Eagles having trouble scoring. They're super dysfunctional. The Giants cover the 3 points. The Jets -2.5. I could be wrong here, but Justin Fields with 1,100 yards, 66% completion, 5 touchdowns to just 1 pick. And he's your second leading rusher because Jalen Warren's been hurt, and you're potentially benching him for Russ. The 7 yards per attempt, all of that, not great, but not bad. And you're couching him at this stage of the season.
Wow. I didn't know that. Really?
The Jets are, that's the rumor that, Russ, what's not a rumor.
Russ is taking snaps at practice, is what you're saying.
He's getting the 1 reps.
Oh, geez.
So Jets are rolling in there. Their lives are on the line, and Aaron Rodgers got his nookie blankie with Devontae Adams. Are you kidding me? It's over. Jets -2.5. And then finally, Bucks Ravens over 49.5. Highest scoring game of the week. The Bucks, save for the weird game against the Broncos. Their offense is insane right now. The Ravens have caught fire since a slow start. They run for a mile, and Lamar's gone for 300+ in the air, the 2 in a row. Bucks Ravens over 49.5.
Buffalo Wild Wings Monticello tomorrow for the Friday football feast. Thank you for listening. I'm Paul Allen. Here comes Nordo to put a wrap on the show.
That's a great setup, Bob. Big boy's back. Good stuff.
PA at the Lynx game, his feet on the floor, the court side energy, a rube to the core. Sad fans left lamenting as they walk out the door. The host learned that you can't stand at games anymore. Gal sitting behind him, she got so blunt. TV broadcast, I see her mentioning, down in front. PA was aloof, his son riddled with guilt as people seated behind them were fully on tilt. And oh my goodness, with Ionescu, it's like attacking the green and landing in the fescue. Saw a couple in the crowd, the worst moment of their lives. You could feel their frowns through their N95s. But take a breath, because it's not all bad. Just gotta win 2 straight and a trophy can be had. Meanwhile, Friday feast tomorrow. Anything but mellow. Join us tomorrow. It's Monticello.
Here we go, Bob!
Podcast today's Paul Allen Show, or listen back to previous show and interviews by going to the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.